Most people think money is about how much you make, but that's just not true. It's about how you manage what you already have. And if you don't get this right before the new year, you could be repeating the same financial mistakes for the next decade. In this video, I'm going to show you how to save in a way your bank doesn't tell you, how to start managing money that blesses you and others, and a biblical principle that proves financial discipline isn't just smart, it's spiritual. So stay until the end because the last tip is the one most people completely miss, and it could absolutely change your financial future forever. Step 1, start with a plan. If you haven't heard of the 50-30-20 rule, before you even think about investing property or making a big purchase, you need a plan for your money. One of the simplest ways to do that is through the 50-30-20 rule. 50% for your needs, 30% for your wants, and 20% for your savings, or your debt repayment, depending on where you are financially. This method is not meant to be complicated at all. It's meant to help you set boundaries for your financial future. Because once you know where your money is going, you can make smarter decisions about where to grow it. 50% of your needs are things like rent, bills, utilities, groceries. Your wants are more like, I want that new flat screen TV because mine is tripping out. I want a treadmill because I know if I have it at my house, I'm more likely to lose weight instead of getting a gym membership. Your savings or debt repayment is like paying off your student loans, paying back any credit card debt that you might have. And then savings is your obvious, I'm saving up for a vacation, I'm saving up for my rainy day fund, things like that. It's important to think about this rule as a pie so that you know the biggest financial piece is going to be the things I need to live and sustain me. And so by looking at your needs, you can decide what is more important to you. Keeping a roof over your head. So you know you need a budget for rent. Make sure you can pay that off, put it on auto pay if you can, but just make sure that when you move or if you're planning to move, take it off of auto pay and pay it until you plan to move. Groceries. This is something that's extremely important to me. I like to eat organic, whole foods. So that means I'm probably paying top dollar because for whatever reason, organic food and real whole foods are just so hard to get these days. But that's a story for another day. But there are ways that you can be a little bit better with your budget. So if you live in an area that supports farmers markets and it's easier year round to do that because paying $3 to $4 for a pound of collard greens at the farmers market will take you much further than going to your local Harris Teeter or Wegmans to get that for $8. So just think about those cost differences. Your wants. Now, if you are like, I really need this TV in my living room, I have to have it because it's like my only source of relaxation when I want to relax, but I know that I need to save up for it. Those are the wants pieces of it. You don't necessarily need it, but it's more of like your nice to have. So you can budget out $200, $50, however much per month or per week that you can until a designated date to get that new purchase. And then your savings is 20%, which is, I know that I have a vacation I want to take next year. I don't know where, don't know when, don't know with who, but I know I want to go here. And the research that I did today is the flight as of today, it could go up, it could go down, but as of today, I can expect to pay, I don't know, $800. And the same thing for the hotel or the resort. It's going to be $600 to $700. Okay, got it. It's $1,500 already. You're going to need a rental car when you get there. That's going to be like $400 or $500 a week. I'm just like high pricing it. You can definitely find something that's easier, but for the most part, you want to really plan out what you're saving for so that it makes more sense when you reach that goal. And then you're going to need to eat. You might want to get an outfit while you're there. There might be excursions. So just overall generally plan for that one vacation to have $2,500. You have 1 year to save that. So don't let that be the thing where you're like, oh my gosh, I need it. But if you come into some cash flow and you're like, actually, I can dedicate $500 to this vacation, put it there. But you also may be in a different situation where you're just trying to pay off some debts. So that could be massive student loans because maybe you just like went to school, went to grad school, and now it's that time. Same thing for credit card debt. Maybe you didn't know how to manage your money, so you're just working on doing that and saving a little bit on the side. So that's less of a priority and more paying off the debts are the bigger priority. Have a plan and look at the highest interest rate. So if you have student loan payments, say you have 5 of them individually, and the top one's at an 8% interest rate, work to pay that one down first. So say that is $3,000 total. That is the only interest rate that's 8% and the rest are like 4%. Get rid of that one first, because the higher the interest rate, the more that you're going to pay over time if you're not tackling it down pretty aggressively, if that is your goal. So that's the 50-30-20 rule in a nutshell, and how you should start looking at your own finances that only you know, to figure out what do I need to do next to set myself up for success a month from now, 3 months from now, 6 months, a year from now, so on and so forth, so that you can have those goal points to say, I am making the progress that I was expecting to make. Once you know where your money is going, you can make smarter decisions about where to grow it next. Which brings me to step number 2, savings that actually work. What is an HYSA versus your bank account savings account? So an HYSA is short for high yield savings account. And that just basically means it is also the same savings account that it is that you do for your bank right now. Say you have, I don't know, Bank of America or something like that. And you have your checkings account, and then you also have a savings account. And say you have $2,000 in that savings. That $2,000 that you have in the bank savings account, that interest that you could be making is just 0.0001%, which means you are literally making pennies on the dollar. In HYSA, you can keep that same $2,000 that you have in your bank savings, move that to an HYSA. I'll put some in the description below, but you can move that $2,000 there. And depending on how much you add to your HYSA over time, you're going to be getting anywhere between 3 and 5% of interest back on the money that you save there. So it literally is put your money in the account, we'll pay you for having that money in the account for the percentage that we have annually. Sometimes it's a situation where the annual percentage yield is like 4.55%. Get on that immediately, because that means for however long they're going to have that percentage at that time, you are going to be making that every single month, every 2 weeks, whatever the frequency is that you're placing money in. Which is important to note that if you have $2,000 in that savings, but you plan to add $200 every month, try to spread that out. So every 2 weeks, it is taking it from your bank account, $100, putting it into the HYSA. Then the next 2 weeks, now you have your $200 in the month. Definitely fact check me on this, but I was told by someone who is in finances, who works in fintech, the more frequent that you put your money in your HYSA, the better the high interest is. So right now I'm seeing like $20 to $30 per month transparently on just the money that lives there, because of the money that I'm also continuing to save in the HYSA. So just think about that when you're thinking about where to put your money. Try to stay less away from banks. Some have great opportunities and maybe you just prefer to keep it all in one place, and that's fine. But if you want your money to make money, HYSA is definitely a place to start. If you combine this with the 50-30-20 rule, suddenly your savings become more intentional and powerful. Which brings me to step number 3. Start small, but be consistent. You do not need to start with a fortune. I promise you, you do not. $100 will suffice. Or honestly, whatever you can consistently set aside. If 100 sounds like breaking the bank right now because of the season of your life, that's fine. $20 is enough. Something is always better than nothing. And that consistency also builds trust on the back end with yourself and the way that you want to start moving in life. Sometimes even that consistency of paying, like the consistency of putting $20 in your HYSA, that habit you're building can also help you in other areas of your life. Similar to if you are paying off credit card debt, or you want to pay your credit card off full every month, no minimum statement balance, which that's another tricky thing. Quick intermission. If you have a credit card and the minimum like monthly balance that you have to pay is $40, but you have $800, do not consistently pay the minimum balance. Try to pay it off all each month, because over time that will drive your credit card stuff. It's crazy if you don't know it. It's easy to find yourself in that loop of like, oh, I only need to pay $40. Yeah, but next month that's gonna ding you. And then 6 months from now, it's gonna be tough. And then if you're trying to raise your credit limit, I mean, the bridge between that is just like so far gone until you pay that off. But the good news is that you're here trying to make a plan. So just in case you didn't know about it, try to pay more than the minimum balance on your credit cards. Which brings me to the most overlooked step in financial growth. Step number 4, managing money as stewardship. So I've never been shy about this on my channel. Me and Jesus Christ, we go like this. I follow him as my Lord and Savior, and he's just completely transformed my life in a way that I can't even describe sometimes. On my walk with Christ, I've learned that money is a tool for yourself. It is a way to bless others. The Bible says in Luke 16:10, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Your ability to manage a small amount of money when you want to get to a larger amount of money consistently will tell you everything about how your financial future can go. That's why I find it really important to invite God into every area of your life, because I've tried to do it on my own where I'm like, I'm just gonna make all this money, work 2 jobs, do this, do that, find some side hustles, and burn out. Literally just burned out. Didn't even want to do it anymore. But then second time around, I was like, all right, God, I really don't know what I'm doing. Don't know how to pray for this. I really just don't know, but I know that I cannot do it on my own anymore. Please show up in areas where I'm lacking and help me in areas where I am thriving. And sometimes prayers like that, just sitting praying, journaling, spending like 5 to 10 minutes with God about your situation can truly transform things, even if you feel like right now you don't see anything. That's the goal. That's faith, that's hope, that's trust that God is going to bless your situation 10 times more than you could ever think. And that's why it's important to start now, even with these small steps. Some really helpful resources, books on financial literacy that have really helped. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna break it down. This is probably my favorite pastime to do. I've never been someone who's been big on reading, but when I'm learning about financial literacy, whether it be through a podcast or a book or a YouTube channel, I'm there. A few must reads. I'm definitely gonna start with obviously Budgeting 101. This is Budgeting 101. This is Getting Out of Debt, Tracking Expenses, Setting Financial Goals, Building Your Savings, and Your Basic Essential Guide to Budgeting. I hate spending money on a book or driving somewhere and saying, is it really worth it? So one way to convince you, the pictures is what sold me. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I was first getting into understanding financial literacy, I was like, I'm not gonna know what index fund means and all this and all that. Honestly, 4 ways to boost your earnings. The first thing I opened up to was actually this page, getting a raise. So that is just one way to increase your funds. And it talks about how you can have yard sales, maintaining home budgets, talking about your eating out habits, you know, saving for college, stuff like that. Like big things that will make a big difference if you start focusing on them now. Another one, personal favorite, Rich AF by Vivian Tu. She's also known as your Rich BFF on social media. If you're not familiar, definitely give her a follow, give her a listen. She has been someone who has really helped me understand how money works, especially just from another boss girly. It's just really fun understanding what that looks like and seeing how it fits into my season of life. And my final recommendation for this video specifically, hands down, recently learned about I Will Teach You to Be Rich. This book completely changed the game. And what's even better is that if you're not really into reading right now, watch it. Ramit Sethi, he has a YouTube channel called I Will Teach You to Be Rich. He also has a Netflix show called How to Get Rich. And I actually learned about his Netflix show through watching him on YouTube. He was just kind of someone who I felt was really personable about financial growth, financial literacy. And I was like, oh, okay, I can dissect this. This isn't too much for me. And then I learned that he had a Netflix show and he talks and goes through 6 different couples channels of how they spend money. Some have so much money that they don't know how to manage it. Some most don't have a lot and they're working to manage more or manage what they have. And it just completely changed the way that I started viewing money, because you can change your situation. And while books and YouTube channels and podcasts give you the knowledge, action is what's going to create the result at the end of the day. So learn about it and then apply it. Which brings me to step number 6, planning for life goals. If you haven't already watched this video, if you're planning to move out, this is definitely a great place to start. I talk about different financial pieces there and also steps on how you can get there, things that you might be missing out on. But it's important to know that if you are moving out, trying to buy property, starting to invest, you have to break your goals into timelines. 1 year, 5 year, 10 year. And it sounds like it's so far away, but the things that you do every day will eventually just become autopilot. For example, maybe in 1 year total, you can save $5,000. In 5 years, you can own a rental property. In 10 years, you might be financially free enough to do whatever you want to do. Bless others, bless your family, bless your kids, whoever. But without tracking, even the best goals still remain dreams. Step number 7, avoid comparison. Focus on the progress. Comparison is the enemy of financial growth. Comparison also is a thief that likes to steal your joy. Someone else may buy a property before you do. Someone else might own a home before you do. That doesn't mean you're behind. Focus on your journey, your timeline, and your goals, because your situation is different and so is theirs and whoever's. Over time, the habits that you're creating right now will compound and they will determine your future far more than the one big win you see Sally Joe or Billy Bob posting about. Which brings me to my final point, step number 8, action steps to take before the new year. So whether you're watching this in December when this video is coming out or after 2026 has already started, commit to these 3 actions. Number 1, set up or optimize your savings. Set up an HYSA, do research on which one makes most sense, and find apps where you can just automate $50 to $100 out every 2 weeks, so that maybe there's a total of $100 or $200 per month going in there that you don't even think about. And the thing is, most of you can do that. That just means you can't eat out as much. You're gonna spend the $50 to $100 anyways in the month on Chipotle or Chick-fil-A or things you don't need to be eating anyways because you got goals you're trying to get to, and consider moving that to your savings to go on a resort trip to the Bahamas. I don't know. Number 2, track your spending with the 50-30-20 rule. If you know exactly what your needs are, you can start planning for your wants and definitely planning for your savings or debt repayments. And lastly, identify one small financial habit to repeat consistently. Whether it's saving the $50 a week, paying down debt, starting a budget journal, whatever financial goal you have, repeat it weekly and make it easily attainable. Don't make it like, I'm gonna save $1,000 in a month. Do not do that if this is the first time you are starting to save. Now, if you wanna be that aggressive and you feel like with this plan, I can make it work, make it work. Don't let me stop you. But if you're really starting off and you wanna be realistic and consistent over time, start with $50 to $100 a month. These steps may feel small, but in 12 months, they're not gonna look that way. And this just may be the obedient step you need to take to see how God can trust you with more. At the end of the day, your money is more than dollars. It is trust, it is responsibility, and it is opportunity. You have to manage it well and start small. If you take action now, there is no limit to how far you can actually go when you start applying these principles. So if you stayed until this long in the video, leave this emoji so I know that you're a real one and I know that you're serious about your financial future. And if you want to know where to start and how to think about getting these extravagant things, make a vision board. And if you haven't seen that video, watch it right here. That's how you're going to start before you start planning out all the financial pieces of the things that you want. You have to know what you want first. So feel free to watch that video and keep building. Start small and know that the journey, it takes time. So enjoy the process. I'll see y'all on the next episode of Party of One Podcast. Peace.